Hello, make R the subject of the relation. J equals 1 minus the fraction 6s over SR minus D, right? So this is series 22 and they are asking us to make R the subject of the relation in the given equation J equals to R minus the fraction 6s over SR minus D. Right, so based upon the preamble of our question, we are asked to make R the subject of the relation, right? So in the given equation, J equals 1 minus the fraction 6s over SR minus D, right? So what you have to do is to multiply through each side of the equation by the LCM, which is SR minus D, right? Because SR minus D is the only number that can go into the denominator, right? That's the least common factor that can go into the denominator, which is 1 and SRD. So this one here, okay, has an invisible one here. Okay, that's an invisible one here. This J also has an invisible one, right? So it is only SR minus D that can go through each of the denominator, the variables within each of the denominator here. So we multiply it through by each side of the equation. So J would multiply SR minus D, 1 would multiply SR minus D, and 6s, the fraction 6s over SR minus D would multiply SR minus D, right? So in doing so, SR minus D would cancel itself here, and it will cancel SR minus D for us to get the equation J multiplying all in brackets SR minus D equals 1 multiplying SR minus D will give you SR minus D, right? Minus 6s because we did some cancellation, leaving 6s alone here. So we are going to have J equals the all in bracket SR minus D equals all in bracket SR minus D minus 6s, right? So we do some expansion. So J multiplying SR will give you JSR. J multiplying negative D will give you negative GD, right? Equals, right? Here, there is an invisible one here by this number, right? Any number that stands alone has an invisible one. So this positive number multiplying SR, we are trying to eliminate the brackets, right? This positive number multiplying positive SR will give you positive SR, right? And this positive 1 multiplying negative D will give you negative D because there's a rule in mathematics that states that positive and negative gives negative, right? So that's how come we had a negative D, right? So positive and negative combined together will give you a negative. So positive 1 multiplying negative D will give you a negative D, right? Then minus 6s. So we have our equation to be JSR minus JD equals SR minus D minus 6s, right? So we group like terms from here, right? So we want to make R the subject of the relations, right? So those with like terms that associates with R will be grouped to one side, and those without like term that does not associate with R will be grouped to the other half. So we maintain JSR, right? And the next variable with R in it is SR, right? And it's a positive SR. So it will jump the equal to sign here to become a negative SR, because whenever a variable jumps the equal to sign, it will change its form to become the reciprocal form, right? So if it's a positive number, it will become a positive. If it's a positive number, it will become a negative number. If it's a negative number, it will become a positive number. So it will metamorphose, it will reciprocate, right? Its formation. So we are going to have GSR minus SR, right? And this gene D here is a negative gene D, right? So negative gene D here, negative gene D here, it will cross the equal to sign and metamorphose to become a positive number, to become a positive gene D, right? So that's how come we have a positive gene D here, right? And we maintain the negative D and negative 6s here. So we are going to have our equation to become JSR minus SR equals positive gene D minus D minus 6s, right? So that explains the equation. Okay. So we simplify further. So here, based on the equation, R is a common term here, right? And we want R to become independent, as R is dependent on GS and S here. So we want R to become independent. So we single out R, right? And in doing so, we bring R out, and R would multiply only JS to get JSR, to get a variable JSR. So we bring in JS here, we state JS here. R will multiply only S to, only negative S to have negative SR, right? So we are going to multiply R2 by negative SR. So R multiplying positive GS will give you GSR. R multiplying negative S will give you negative SR, right? So we've explained our equation. We maintain the right hand side equation, which is gene D equals D minus 6S, right? So we have our equation to be R equals, or in brackets, JS minus S equals gene D minus D minus 6S, right? So we want R to become independent, but R is dependent on JS minus S. So we have to cancel out with JS minus S, right? So when you are doing your cancellation, or when you are doing some solution in mathematics, and you have two different half of an equation, whatever you do for the left hand side, you do same for the right hand side, right? So hence we are going to have to divide through by JS minus S on both sides of the equation. So we divide through R multiplying, or in bracket, JS minus S with JS minus S, and we also divide through GD minus D minus 6S with JS minus X, right? So we are going to have our equation here to be the fraction R multiplying, or in bracket, JS minus S over JS minus S equals to the fraction GD minus D minus 6S over JS minus SY. So we do some cancellations here. So JS will cancel itself, JS minus S will cancel itself, JS minus S, right? leaving R to become independent or the subject of the relation. So we are going to have our R to be J. So we are going to have our R to be the fraction GD minus D minus 6s is equal to JS minus S, right? So we have two like variables here, which is D here, D here. So we group like terms, okay? So we bring D out, okay? And we find a variable that when we multiply by D, we are going to have change D. And when we multiply by D, we are going to have D, right? So these variables are J minus 1 because when you multiply D by J, you are going to get J D. You multiply D by -1, you are going to get negative D, right? So that explains it here. So we are going to have our final equation to be R equals to the fraction D multiplying J minus 1 equals to the variables S multiplying or in brackets J minus 1, right? So when you do some further cancellation, you can even get J minus 1 cancel out, J minus 1 cancel out. So we are going to get our very final answer to be D minus 6S equals or divided by S, right? Thank you so much for watching today's video. Kindly do well to subscribe for more. Thank you.